Life has a funny way of testing us, doesn't it? The minute you try to grow, boom, distractions everywhere. The second you decide to focus, temptations pop up out of nowhere. And right when you're finally ready to rise up, that's when people start doubting you, criticizing you. Some might even laugh at you. But here's the thing, success doesn't come to people who chase after others' opinions or look for comfort. Success only comes to those who never give up on growing themselves. Marcus Aurelius once said something really powerful. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that for a second. The only real foundation for success? It's what you build inside yourself. When you learn to focus on your own growth, step by step, moment by moment, success has no choice but to follow you. Here's what I've noticed. Lots of people want success, but hardly anyone wants to actually grow. They want the end result, but not the hard work. They want the reward, but not the discipline. They want everyone clapping for them, but they don't want those quiet hours of preparation when nobody's watching. That's why so many people end up frustrated, constantly comparing themselves to others instead of just building themselves up. Stoicism teaches us something beautiful. Success isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. Picture this, a tiny seed buried deep in the dirt. Nobody sees it, nobody cheers for it, nobody even knows it's there, but it keeps growing in silence, pushing through all that darkness until one day it breaks through to the surface. That's exactly what your journey needs. Quiet, patient, steady growth. The kind nobody notices at first, but eventually nobody can ignore. This journey comes down to 8 simple principles from Stoic philosophy. And I'm not talking theory here. These are things you can actually use. Things that will completely change how you see your path forward. If you really want to make success inevitable, you've got to learn how to build yourself up so strong that life can't say no to you. So, listen up. Think about what I'm saying, and please, don't just watch this and forget about it. Actually practice what you learn here, because growth without action, that's just daydreaming. Before we jump in, let me ask you something. Are you ready to focus so hard on your own growth that success has no choice but to come knocking? If you are, then stick with me till the very end. Don't skip ahead. Each step builds on the last one. And hey, if this helps you out, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe so you never miss out on getting stronger with Stoic wisdom. Let's make a promise together. Drop this in the comments. My growth will attract my success. Number 1. Discipline is the root of freedom. Growth doesn't start with talent, luck, or even opportunity. It starts with discipline, that quiet, rock-solid decision you make every single day to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. This isn't about making big dramatic changes or those bursts of excitement that fade away. It's about that sacred promise you make to yourself in the quiet moments when nobody's watching, just you and your choice. Epictetus once said something that hits deep. No man is free who is not master of himself. Think about that for a second. We think freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want. But real freedom, it comes from training yourself to rise above those impulses, that laziness, and all those excuses your mind loves to create. Discipline isn't a prison, it's actually what sets you free. Look at your life right now. Be brutally honest with yourself. How many dreams have you put off because you were waiting to feel motivated? How many goals did you push aside because comfort felt so much easier? How many opportunities slipped away while you waited for that perfect moment that, let's face it, never comes? Here's the thing about motivation. It's unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. But discipline? Discipline is rock solid. It's constant, and it's completely in your control. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It just asks one simple question: what needs to be done? And then it demands you do it, no matter what mood you're in. Real growth happens when you stop letting your feelings control you, when you stop being a slave to your moods and temporary desires. Instead, you start living by your principles and your long-term vision. Success doesn't come to people who only work on their good days when everything feels easy. It comes to those who show up consistently, especially when their body's tired, their mind's scattered, and the world's throwing 1,000 distractions at them. Discipline is like magic. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Picture this: two people start the same journey with the exact same resources and opportunities. One waits for inspiration to strike like lightning. The other commits to showing up every single day. At first, they look identical. Same potential, same dreams. But watch what happens over time. The disciplined one builds strength, develops skills, creates consistency. The other one, still stuck in the same spot, wondering why success feels so impossible to reach. The difference isn't talent or intelligence or luck, it's discipline. Think of discipline like a muscle. The first time you wake up early to work on your goals, it feels terrible and uncomfortable. The first time you choose growth over comfort, it feels unnatural and hard. But here's the amazing part. With repetition, something magical happens. It gets easier, then it becomes a habit. Eventually, it feels as natural as breathing. That's when you realize something incredible. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It gives it back to you in ways you never imagined. The Stoics knew something powerful. We can't control what happens around us. We can't control other people or random events. But we can always, and I mean always, control how we respond, how we act, how we choose to show up in each moment. When you choose discipline over comfort, consistency over convenience, you take back complete control over where your life goes. And once you master yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, success has no choice but to follow you around like a loyal friend. The Stoics understood that freedom isn't having no rules, it's having self-control. When you develop the discipline to act on your highest values instead of your lowest impulses, that's when you become truly free. Free from being controlled by your emotions, free from procrastination prison, free from the chains of inconsistency that keep most people stuck in average. Every morning you face a choice that determines your entire day and ultimately your entire life. You can choose the temporary comfort of staying in bed, avoiding hard stuff, and doing whatever feels easiest. Or you can choose the lasting satisfaction of discipline, of doing what needs to be done, of building toward your vision, of becoming the person your future self will want to high-five. Ask yourself this: do I want to live a life controlled by comfort and circumstances? Or do I want to live a life built on strength, purpose, and never giving up on growth? Because this choice shows up every single day, in every single moment. Success isn't waiting for you to feel ready or motivated or inspired. It's waiting for you to become disciplined enough to earn it through consistent action. If you believe it, type this below: discipline is my freedom. Number 2, Patience builds real strength. We live in a world where everyone wants everything, right now. Fast food, fast internet, fast results. We want to see changes overnight and get frustrated when things take time. But here's the truth that'll change everything. Real growth takes time. Just like a mighty oak tree can't grow tall in a single day. And patience? It's not about being weak or lazy. It's actually one of the strongest things you can possibly do. There's this old saying that goes, time reveals what's real. The good stuff in life, lasting success, solid character, real wisdom, they all take time to build. When people try to rush things and hunt for shortcuts, they usually end up disappointed and empty-handed. But when you're patient and trust the process, that's when you discover strength you didn't even know existed inside you. Think about the people you truly admire, the ones who've achieved incredible things and have rock-solid character. Not one of them got there overnight. They failed countless times. They faced setbacks that would make most people quit. They went through long periods where nobody noticed their hard work. They put in years of effort without getting recognition. What kept them going? Patience. It helped them push forward when they couldn't see results, when everything told them to throw in the towel. Here's what's tragic. Impatience actually destroys dreams. So many talented people give up, not because they can't do something, but because they don't see results fast enough. They start with all this excitement, but quit the moment progress feels too slow. The heartbreaking part? Success was probably just around the corner, but they turned back too early. Real patience isn't just sitting around twiddling your thumbs. It's showing up every single day and doing the work, even when you can't see any progress. It's trusting that if you stay consistent, things will work out. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can actually control, our daily actions and choices. The results and timing, that's not up to us, and stressing about it just wastes energy. When you practice patience, something incredible happens inside you. You become unshakable. You stop getting upset by delays and setbacks. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You stop feeling rushed by the crazy world around you. Instead, you become steady, calm. That calmness becomes your secret weapon. It keeps you moving forward when others burn out and give up. Picture water dripping on a rock. Each drop seems tiny and powerless, right? But over time, those drops can carve holes in the hardest stone. That's exactly what patience does in your life. It slowly but surely turns the impossible into possible. The ancient philosophers knew that patience isn't about waiting for things to magically change. It's about becoming someone who can keep going no matter what life throws at you. They understood that life is unpredictable, but you can train yourself to respond well through practice. Every time you choose patience over panic, you're investing in your future strength. Every day you keep going when progress feels painfully slow, you're building your comeback power. Every time you resist quitting when results don't match your timeline, you're creating a foundation that can't be easily shaken. So, ask yourself this: will you quit when growth feels slow, or will you keep pushing forward with determination, knowing that what you build slowly and steadily can never be easily destroyed? Remember this: success might show up late to the party, but it never ignores someone who refuses to give up. Your power begins with patience. Drop this in the comments. My patience makes me powerful. Number 3, control your mind, control your path. If there's one battlefield where your entire future gets decided, it's right inside your mind. Your mind is where all those fears live, where doubts whisper lies to you, where insecurities try to convince you that you're not good enough. But here's the flip side. It's also where courage is born. where clarity cuts through confusion, where real strength begins to grow. Success? It all comes down to which voice you choose to listen to. Marcus Aurelius dropped some serious wisdom when he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that for a moment. If your thoughts are negative, scattered, and all over the place, guess what? Your actions are going to follow that same chaotic pattern. But if your thoughts are clear, disciplined, and laser-focused, your entire life starts reflecting that order. Your mind is exactly like a garden. And here's the thing about gardens. If you just let weeds grow wild, they'll take over everything beautiful you're trying to create. But if you intentionally plant good seeds, discipline, gratitude, focus, you're going to harvest incredible growth. The problem is, most people never train their minds. They leave the gate wide open and let every distraction walk right in. Every random opinion, every fear, every doubt. Then they sit there wondering why their life feels like complete chaos. But what if I told you there's another way? To truly focus on your growth, you've got to become the master of your own mind. This means paying attention to your thoughts, really paying attention. It means questioning them instead of just accepting whatever pops up. It means not letting every passing feeling hijack your entire day. The Stoics made this a daily practice. They'd observe their thoughts like scientists studying specimens. They'd challenge negative beliefs that weren't serving them. They'd constantly remind themselves of what truly mattered in the bigger picture. Here's what happens when your mind is under your control. External chaos can't break you anymore. Sure, you'll still face criticism, setbacks will still happen, uncertainty will still show up uninvited, but your inner clarity becomes like an anchor that keeps you steady no matter how rough the storm gets. And that clarity? That's what makes success inevitable. Because while everyone else is busy wrestling with their doubts and getting distracted by their fears, you'll be moving forward with crystal clear focus. Think about this for a second. How much mental energy gets completely wasted on worrying about the future or beating yourself up about the past? When you take real control of your mind, you stop living in that exhausting world of "what if this happens?" and "if only I had done that." Instead, you start living in the most powerful place that exists right now. Because here's the truth nobody talks about. Growth only happens in this present moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Right here, right now. Training your mind to serve you instead of sabotaging you. It's not easy. I won't lie to you about that. It requires showing up every single day and doing the work. But the more you strengthen your mental muscles, the more unshakable you become. When negative thoughts try to creep in, and they will, you'll catch them before they poison your whole mindset. When fear tries to talk you out of taking that next step, you'll recognize it for what it is and keep moving anyway. When self-doubt tries to convince you to quit, you'll have the mental strength to push through. This is where most people lose the battle. They let their minds run wild like untrained animals. They become prisoners of their own thinking. But you're going to be different. You're going to be the one who takes control. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can let your mind wander wherever it wants to go, into worry, negativity, distraction. Or you can grab the steering wheel and direct your thoughts toward what actually matters: your growth, your goals, your vision for who you're becoming. The ancient philosophers understood something powerful. The person who controls their mind controls their destiny. When your thoughts are aligned with your purpose, when your mental energy is focused on what you can actually control, when your inner dialogue supports your dreams instead of tearing them down, that's when magic starts to happen. Ask yourself this crucial question: am I in control of my thoughts, or are my thoughts controlling me? Because here's the reality: the one who controls the mind controls the path. And when your path becomes crystal clear, success has no choice but to follow you wherever you go. Your future begins with this mindset. Comment: I control my mind, I control my future. Number 4. Consistency is stronger than intensity. Growth isn't about doing something once with crazy intensity and then burning out. It's about showing up repeatedly, steadily, day after day, until what you're doing becomes part of who you are. Most people get super excited at the beginning of their journey. They go all out for a week, maybe a month if they're really motivated. Then they crash and burn. But here's what they don't understand. Success doesn't reward those explosive bursts of energy. Success rewards the quiet power of steady consistency. Epictetus said something brilliant. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The wisdom here is beautifully simple. Decide who you want to become, then show up every single day and do the work, no matter how small that step might seem. Consistency shapes you into that person, brick by brick, day by day. Picture a river cutting through solid rock. It's not raw power that makes this incredible transformation possible. It's persistence. That river doesn't take days off. It doesn't wait until it feels motivated. Day after day, drop after drop, it quietly shapes the hardest stone on earth. That's exactly what consistency does to your life. It might look slow from the outside, but it's absolutely unstoppable. Here's one of the biggest traps people fall into. They become addicted to chasing motivation. Motivation feels amazing for a moment. It gives you that rush, that surge of "I can conquer the world" energy. But then what happens? It fades, fast, like a sugar high that leaves you crashing harder than before. Consistency is completely different. It doesn't need good feelings to survive. It doesn't care if you're having an off day. It only needs one thing: commitment. When you commit to small daily actions, something magical happens. Those tiny actions start compounding into something incredibly powerful over time. Think about learning any skill, let's say playing guitar. You could practice for 10 straight hours in one day. You'd be exhausted, your fingers would hurt, and honestly, you'd forget most of what you learned. But if you practice for just 1 hour every single day, that builds real mastery. That creates lasting change. The same principle works for everything: your health, your relationships, your personal discipline, your career growth. Small actions, repeated consistently, create transformations that seem impossible at first glance. But here's something even more powerful. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you're proving something important. You're proving that you can be relied upon. You're showing yourself that your word actually means something. And when you start trusting yourself, your confidence grows naturally. Success stops feeling like this impossible mountain to climb because you already know something crucial about yourself. You don't quit halfway. You don't abandon ship when things get tough. You keep going. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that excellence isn't one single act of greatness. Excellence is a habit. It's what happens when you consistently choose growth over comfort, progress over perfection, showing up over giving up. Consistency is like a secret superpower that most people never develop. while others are starting and stopping, getting excited and then quitting, burning bright and then fading out. You're quietly building something unbreakable. You're creating momentum that becomes nearly impossible to stop. Here's what consistency looks like in real life. It's reading 10 pages every day instead of trying to finish a whole book in one weekend. It's doing 20 push-ups every morning instead of killing yourself at the gym once a week. It's writing for 30 minutes daily instead of waiting for that perfect weekend when you'll write for 8 hours straight. The compound effect of these small, consistent actions is absolutely mind-blowing. After a month, you might not see huge changes. After 3 months, people start noticing something different about you. After a year, you've become someone completely new. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because it doesn't look impressive at first. It's quiet, it's humble, it doesn't get applause or recognition in the beginning. But that's exactly what makes it so powerful. It works behind the scenes, building your foundation stone by stone. Consistency is the invisible force that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's what turns potential into reality. So, here's the question that will determine your future. Do you want to be someone who starts strong but fades away when things get difficult? Or do you want to be someone who shows up quietly, consistently, until your results speak louder than words ever could? The choice is entirely yours. But remember this, intensity might impress people for a moment, but consistency changes everything forever. Number 5. Silence protects your growth. In this crazy, noisy world we live in, silence has become a superpower. And here's something most people don't realize. Real growth requires laser focus. But that focus, it can't survive if you're constantly running your mouth about your plans, your struggles, or your big dreams to everyone who'll listen. Not everyone's going to understand what you're doing. Not everyone's going to support your vision. And some people, they might actually try to discourage you without even realizing it. That's exactly why silence isn't weakness, it's protection. Marcus Aurelius dropped this truth bomb. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Think about what happens when you constantly seek validation from other people. You're literally placing your growth in their hands. You're giving them the power to decide whether you keep going or give up. But when you keep your focus private, when you work in silence, that's when you take your power back completely. There's something almost sacred about working in silence. Nobody's there to clap for you, but nobody's there to judge you either. Nobody's distracting you with their opinions or their doubts. It's just you, your discipline and your growth. And then, boom, when the results finally appear, they speak so much louder than any explanation you could have ever given. Here's something fascinating that happens in your brain. When you talk too much about your goals, your mind gets tricked into thinking you've already achieved them. That little rush of approval you get when you tell people about your plans. It becomes a substitute for actually doing the work. Your brain thinks, oh, we got the reward already, so we don't need to put in the effort. Silence removes that dangerous illusion completely. It forces you to work instead of just talk. It keeps you honest with yourself. But there's another huge benefit. Silence protects you from unnecessary negativity. When you share every single plan you have, you're basically inviting every opinion under the sun. And let's be real, not all opinions are helpful. Some are downright toxic. Growth requires a clear, focused mind. Silence creates that clarity by filtering out all the noise that doesn't serve you. Think about the greatest achievers throughout history. So many of them worked in complete obscurity for years before the world even knew their names. Their silence gave them the space they needed to build something incredible without getting distracted by what everyone else thought. When they finally emerged from that silence, their work was absolutely undeniable. Nobody could argue with the results because the results spoke for themselves. That's the same principle Stoicism teaches us. True strength isn't about being seen by everyone. It's about being unshakable when nobody's watching. Here's a powerful way to think about it. Growth is like a fire when it first starts. In the beginning, it's incredibly fragile. If you expose that tiny flame too early to the world, the wind of criticism and doubt can blow it out completely. But if you keep it protected in silence, nurturing it carefully, it grows into a raging fire that nothing can extinguish. Silence also gives you something precious, the freedom to fail privately. When you're working in silence, you can make mistakes without everyone watching and judging. You can experiment, you can pivot, you can figure things out without having to explain yourself to anyone. Some people mistake this for being secretive or antisocial, but that's not what this is about at all. This is about being strategic with your energy. Instead of spending mental energy explaining and defending your vision to people who might not get it anyway, you're channeling all that energy into actually making it happen. When you finally do share your results, not your plans, but your actual results, people won't question how you did it. They'll just want to know your secret. And the beautiful irony is that the secret was silence all along. The world is full of people who love to talk about what they're going to do. Social media is packed with announcements and declarations and big promises. But how many of those people actually follow through? How many actually do the work when nobody's watching? The ones who work in silence? They're the ones who shock everyone with their transformation. They're the ones who seem to come out of nowhere with incredible success. But they didn't come from nowhere. They came from the powerful space of silence. So here's what I want you to think about. Are you using your energy to talk about your growth, or are you using it to actually grow? Are you seeking validation from others, or are you building something so solid that validation becomes irrelevant? Protect your growth like it's the most precious thing you own, because honestly, it is. Let silence be your shield against doubt, distraction, and discouragement. And when success finally comes knocking, let it be your voice. Your silence is your power. Right. My silence protects my growth. Number 6. Resilience turns pain into power. Life is going to test you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just being real with you. No matter how focused you are on your growth, pain is coming. Failure will show up uninvited. Rejection will sting. Loss will hurt. Betrayal will shock you. Most people see pain as a giant stop sign. They think it means they should quit, turn around, go back to safety. But if you want real growth, you need to see pain completely differently, not as punishment, but as preparation. Seneca said something that'll change how you think about challenges. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. This isn't just pretty words. This is the truth about how strength is built. Your muscles don't get stronger when you're relaxing on the couch. They get stronger when they're working against resistance. Your character works exactly the same way. It gets stronger through trials, not through comfort. Resilience is your ability to get back up after life knocks you down. And trust me, life will knock you down, sometimes multiple times in a row. But resilience doesn't mean you have to enjoy the pain or pretend it doesn't hurt. It means you refuse to let that pain define who you are. When others quit, resilience whispers, "I will continue." When others complain and blame everyone else, resilience says, I will adapt and find another way. When others get broken by their circumstances, resilience declares, I will grow stronger because of this. Picture a massive storm tearing through a forest. The trees with weak, shallow roots, they get ripped right out of the ground. But the ones with deep, strong roots, they bend with the wind, they sway, they might even lose some branches, but they survive. They're still standing when the storm passes. Resilience is your root system. It's what keeps you anchored when the storms of life try to tear you apart completely. But here's what's really incredible about resilience. It doesn't just help you survive challenges, it helps you transform them into something powerful. Every setback contains hidden wisdom that most people never discover because they're too busy feeling sorry for themselves. Failure teaches you humility and shows you what doesn't work. Rejection teaches you patience and helps you develop thicker skin. Struggle teaches you inner strength you didn't even know existed. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that obstacles aren't barriers blocking your path. They're actually opportunities in disguise. Marcus Aurelius said something that sounds crazy until you really think about it. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the thing that seems to be stopping you might actually be the exact thing that pushes you forward. Your growth isn't determined by what happens to you. Let me repeat that because it's crucial. Your growth is not determined by what happens to you. It's determined by how you respond to what happens to you. If you let pain break you, you stay stuck in that broken place. But if you let pain shape you, mold you, teach you, that's when you become absolutely unstoppable. Real resilience isn't just about surviving the storm. It's about transforming because of it. It's about taking the same pain that completely crushed other people and using it as the foundation for your success. Think about this. Some of the strongest people you know probably went through some of the hardest experiences. They didn't become strong in spite of their struggles. They became strong because of them. Their pain became their power. People will look at your success story someday and wonder how you kept going when everything seemed hopeless, how you pushed through when everyone else would have given up. The answer will be beautifully simple, because resilience taught you that nothing is wasted, not even suffering. Every tear you've cried, every setback you've faced, every time you got knocked down, none of it was meaningless. It was all building something inside you, something unbreakable, something that would serve you when you needed it most. Resilience transforms you from someone who things happen to into someone who decides what those things mean. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your comeback story. The pain you're avoiding? It might be the exact pain that builds the strength you need for your next level. The challenge you're running from, it might contain the lesson that changes everything for you. So, here's the question that will determine your future. Will you allow pain to silence you and convince you to give up? Or will you allow resilience to turn that pain into your greatest source of power? Number 7. Self-mastery creates true confidence. Real confidence. It doesn't come from your looks, your bank account, or your social status. Those things can disappear tomorrow. True confidence, the kind that can't be shaken, comes from one source: mastery over yourself. When you master your habits, your emotions, and your actions, when you control yourself instead of being controlled by your impulses, that's when you no longer need the world to validate who you are. Epictetus hit the nail on the head when he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about this for a moment. If your emotions are running the show, if your habits are dictating your life choices, if you're a slave to every impulse that pops up, then you're not really free, are you? You're being controlled by forces inside you that you haven't learned to manage. Self-mastery is the art of taking that freedom back. It's about becoming the CEO of your own life instead of just an employee who follows orders from their feelings. Most people get confidence completely wrong. They confuse it with arrogance, and there's a huge difference. Arrogance is loud, flashy, and desperate for attention. But it's also incredibly fragile. One criticism can shatter it completely. Real confidence from self-mastery. It's quiet, it's calm, it's unshakable. When you know, really know, that you've disciplined yourself and built something solid inside, you don't need to prove it to anyone. You carry that confidence in silence because it's real, not fake. Self-mastery starts with tiny victories that nobody else even notices. It's waking up when you said you would instead of hitting snooze 3 times. It's finishing that project you started instead of leaving it half done. It's staying calm when someone tries to push your buttons instead of exploding like you used to. Each time you win a battle against yourself, each time you choose discipline over impulse, your confidence grows stronger. Not the fake kind that depends on other people's opinions, but the real kind that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. Here's what's amazing. The more you master your inner world, the less the outer world can mess with you. External chaos can't shake someone who's solid on the inside. Criticism can't break someone who's built unbreakable self-discipline. Setbacks can't destroy someone who's learned to control their responses. Growth is absolutely impossible without self-mastery. Picture this: someone who has big goals but can't control their laziness. How far will they get? Or imagine someone who dreams of success but explodes in anger every time something doesn't go their way. What about someone who wants to build something amazing but gets distracted by every notification on their phone? Without mastery over yourself, any growth you achieve is just temporary. It's like building a house on quicksand. It might look good for a while, but it won't last. The Stoics had this incredible practice of daily reflection. At the end of each day, they'd review their actions, thoughts, and words. They'd ask themselves tough questions. Did I live according to my values today? Did I respond with wisdom or react with emotion? Did I choose growth or comfort? This practice built something crucial: self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of all mastery. You can't master what you're not aware of. You can't control what you don't acknowledge. Once you truly master yourself, something beautiful happens. You stop fearing what other people think. You stop desperately chasing validation from everyone around you. You stop feeling like you need to constantly prove your worth to the world. Confidence becomes as natural as breathing because you know something that most people never learn. You're in control of the hardest thing in the entire world to control: yourself. Most people spend their whole lives trying to control everything around them: other people, circumstances, outcomes. But the wise person focuses on the one thing they actually can control completely: their own thoughts, actions, and responses. When you master your morning routine, you prove to yourself that you're reliable. When you master your emotional reactions, you prove you're in control. When you master your focus and attention, you prove you're serious about your goals. Each small act of self-mastery sends a message to your subconscious mind. I am someone who keeps promises to myself. I am someone who can be trusted with bigger challenges. I am someone who chooses growth over comfort. That's where unshakable confidence is born. Not in what you own, or how you look, or what others think of you, but in what you've proven to yourself through consistent acts of self-discipline. Remember this truth: the strongest person isn't the one who can bench press the most weight or intimidate others with their presence. The strongest person is the one who has conquered the toughest opponent of all themselves. Number 8. Focus creates unstoppable momentum. Growth demands focus, period. When your attention is scattered in a million different directions, your efforts get diluted until they're practically useless. But when you concentrate fully on what truly matters, when you channel all that energy into one clear direction, everything else starts falling into place like magic. Focus is the bridge that connects your effort to your results. Without it, you're just spinning your wheels. Marcus Aurelius said something that sounds intense, but is absolutely crucial. Concentrate every minute, like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. This isn't just about working harder. This is about directing every single action, every thought, every ounce of energy toward your growth with laser precision. The world we live in is absolutely packed with distractions, social media notifications, other people's opinions, fears about the future, doubts about whether you're good enough. All of these things are constantly pulling you in different directions, like you're being torn apart. Most people drift through life without any real purpose. They try to do everything at once and end up achieving nothing meaningful. They're busy but not productive. They're moving but not progressing. True growth happens when you learn the power of saying no. No to the unnecessary stuff that doesn't build you. No to distractions that steal your energy. No to opportunities that look good but don't align with your vision. And yes, a powerful, committed yes to what actually builds you up. Focus creates something incredible: momentum. The more consistent and intentional your actions become, the faster you start progressing. It's like physics. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. When you pour your energy into growth with unwavering attention, those small daily achievements start compounding into massive results. Success becomes inevitable because it's the natural outcome of persistent, concentrated effort. Not scattered effort, not half-hearted effort, but focused, intentional, relentless effort. Focus also acts like a shield for your mind. When you're directing your thoughts and actions toward growth, you naturally minimize regrets, distractions, and wasted mental energy. You stop caring about all the noise around you and start caring only about what's actually within your control. Stoicism teaches us something powerful about focus. We should value only what's essential. Epictetus reminds us that most of life's suffering comes from being attached to things that are completely outside our power. We stress about things we can't control and ignore the things we can. Focus allows you to channel your energy into what truly matters, developing your skills, strengthening your discipline, improving your mindset, and taking purposeful action. Everything else becomes background noise. When you focus properly, you become like a magnifying glass under the sun. Think about this image for a second. Scattered sunlight just creates a dim, weak glow. But when you focus that same light through a magnifying glass, it creates a flame powerful enough to burn through obstacles. That's exactly what happens with your mental energy. Scattered attention creates weak results. Focused attention creates breakthrough results that seem impossible to everyone else. Every decision you make becomes a tool for building momentum when it's guided by focus. Every action becomes purposeful instead of random. Every thought becomes an asset instead of a liability. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter and start investing it in things that transform your life. Focus helps you see opportunities that scattered people miss. It helps you recognize patterns that lead to success. It helps you eliminate the habits and behaviors that keep you stuck. Most importantly, it helps you build the kind of momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. Here's what most people don't understand about momentum. It's not about speed. It's not about rushing toward your goals as fast as possible. Real momentum is about consistency in the right direction. It's about showing up every single day and moving forward, even if the steps are small. A person who takes one focused step forward every day for a year will travel much further than someone who takes 10 scattered steps in different directions. Direction matters more than speed. Consistency matters more than intensity. When you develop laser focus, something amazing starts happening in your life. Problems that used to overwhelm you become manageable. Goals that used to seem impossible become inevitable. Progress that used to feel frustratingly slow becomes satisfyingly steady. You stop getting distracted by what everyone else is doing and start staying committed to what you're building. You stop jumping from one opportunity to another and start going deep on what matters most. Ask yourself this critical question: am I letting distractions control my growth and keep me stuck in mediocrity? Or am I directing my focus toward what will make success inevitable for me? Remember, momentum isn't about moving fast. It's about moving consistently in the right direction until nothing can stop you. Growth is not a destination. It is a journey, a choice, and a commitment. Each step you take, every decision you make, shapes the person you become. The 8 truths we explored: discipline, patience, mental control, consistency, silence, resilience, self-mastery, and focus, are not just lessons. They are tools. Tools to craft a life where success has no choice but to follow you. Remember, life will test you. The world will try to distract, discourage, and overwhelm you. But the one who commits to growth silently, patiently, and consistently becomes unstoppable. The Stoics teach us that power is found not in external achievements, but in the mastery of self. When you master your mind, habits, and focus, success cannot resist you. It is a natural consequence. So, start today. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose patience over haste. Protect your growth in silence. Build resilience through challenges. Master yourself. Focus relentlessly. Each step, no matter how small, compounds over time into extraordinary results. Your growth is your power. Your focus is your shield. Your discipline is your freedom. And the combination of all these will make success inevitable. If this message resonates with you, I encourage you to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a chance to grow stronger with Stoic wisdom. Claim it with action. Drop this in the comments. I focus on my growth until success has no choice.